Hey, it's Pharaoh, and I want to thank everyone that blew up my first Shadow House video since it's doing way better than I would have ever thought. I really appreciate it, so stick around for more Shadow House content and other anime related stuff by subscribing and hitting the like button so more people can experience it. And if you haven't watched the first episode yet, I would suggest watching that before you watch this. With that, let's jump into it because I'm really excited to talk about the first episode. The first episode starts off with a bird jetting across the sky and above the forest, which leads us to seeing the manor in a beautiful aerial shot. And that leads into an extended scene from the first chapter of the manga, showing us the shadows from all different perspectives in a way that shows us, but doesn't tell us what's happening. From Barbara emitting her soot, a character that we'll meet later on, to seeing the foundation that has been created by the shadows, with the train and the workers in what looks like a foundry. They then show us shadows giving children a dark colored liquid, which leads us to see the children are put to sleep with small shadow looking creatures moving towards them. I think that all these establishing shots give the viewer a great look into the world and how it functions to a degree in such a short amount of time. The choice of not expositing the information and showing it to us instead is quite powerful, especially with the music that accompanies it, as it's the vehicle to convey the emotion of the shots. And I really enjoyed this take on introducing the series with those establishing shots. Also, I can't help but say, to me, this anime looks beautiful, and I hope that the episodes keep this level of detail and don't stray away from it, unless they want to give us something even better. We're then greeted to see a child awake for the first time as they get dressed and fix themselves to look like their shadow. She's greeted with food, an oldish looking piece of bread, and tries to find her way through the corridor, but ends up meeting a door. And I love how the actions of the characters are used to convey a sense of their personality. As she's trying to open the door, you could see that she's struggling because it's heavy and has a level of playfulness about it. I don't know about you, but I really like to see attention to these small details because they really add up to making a more immersive experience. Then we can see that the room that she walks into is filthy with what looks like black smoke, and this is called soot. And our character is greeted by her shadow, who we find out to be is Kate. We also find out that living dolls don't have their own names, and it's the shadow's responsibility to give them one. After this interaction, we transition to the anime's OP, which reminds me of an old French style type of song with a vibe of new school elements. So the long and short of it is, to be honest, it reminds me of the movie Ratatouille's music, which is by no means an insult. I really like the OP because I think that it perfectly complements the series aesthetically really well, just another thing that makes for great immersion. I also love how they did the OP as a whole, with all the characters being spotlighted like anime is known for, and I love seeing it every time. It's kind of nice to see, especially since when you read manga, you just go to the next chapter and there's nothing in between. We then come back to Emily-ko cleaning and also pondering over at Kate, as soot is raising off of her head. Kate then tells her to please stop staring, since shadows have pure black figures, you can't see their faces. And we also find out that Kate doesn't like looking people in the eye, or when people are staring at her in the face. And you can see that this bothers her, that people can't see her physical face, but you can't see any shadows' faces. Kate also explains why the soot is emanating from her head, which is caused by negative emotions, such as anger, and in her case, being anxious. And this is a perfect scene to highlight that Emily-ko is an innocent person, as she feels bad that after she asks Kate if she's angry, Kate says no, just anxious. This is a parallel that they share, since when Emily-ko thinks about how Kate is anxious, that she also reflects on the fact that she's also feeling anxious too. We then pivot to the next day, and as Emily-ko is cleaning, she ends up breaking a toy doll, and Kate tells her to just get rid of it. This is a point of reflection for her, since she is told that she's a doll, and thinks that if she breaks, would she just be thrown away like that? But right after that, she ends up accidentally hitting her head, and she's keyed into the fact that with the idea of her being a doll herself, that she feels pain too. So as she's cleaning up the pot that she hit her head on, which spilt water, she asks Kate why does she look like a human, and if Kate is a human. So Kate informs her that she is a doll created by someone to assume the position of a shadow's face. Later in the episode, Kate informs her that a living doll is a personification of a shadow's face, not just a servant. So they should take good care of themselves, since they are a reflection of their masters. And if you're liking the video, hit the like and subscribe button. The next scene is really funny because Emily-ko drops to the ground and says that she's going to die, and this is the end of her. Which she's completely over-exaggerating about, but I could feel for her, because I love food and get hungry often, so I can understand where she's coming from, especially if it's been a minute since the last time I ate. So Kate just asks her if she ate anything, but just says not really. This then prompts Kate to give her the bread that shadows are given, which is of higher quality and much fresher. She then declines to eat it, but Kate tells her that she would like to see her face eating the bread, so Emily-ko indulges. This is another funny scene because after she takes a bite, she proceeds to roll all over the ground in hysteria about how delicious it is. After the scene, you begin to see the bond between them growing as they like each other's company. Kate notes that Emily-ko has so much positive energy, even if she's down. The episode pivots to the next day, with Kate playing with the soot that Emily-ko cleaned up, making a miniature soot man out of boredom. Kate then suggests playing cards to pass the time. So this is what they end up doing, but the catch is Emilyko can't read. And this translates to Kate teaching her how to read, which plays into the next day since Emilyko stayed up so late trying to read with the lesson that Kate gave her. And this translates to her oversleeping and missing her continuation lesson, in which she promised Kate. This teased Kate off, as you could see sooticles hanging from the ceiling in her room from her emitting so much soot. The second to last scene of the episode is what I think is the most important because it encapsulates the relationship that has been building up over the whole episode, and this is the dynamic of Emilyko and Kate having completely different personalities, as Kate is prim and proper, as Emilyko says, and she isn't at all, which gets a little bit deeper into her thoughts of herself, even if she generally has a happy demeanor. And this is because she wants to be the best living doll she can for Kate, and when she isn't, from her perspective, it affects her. She also doesn't believe that she's pretty, so Kate tells her that she'll give her a makeover to help her out. So Kate gives her a dress of hers to put on, and realized and understands why living dolls aren't allowed to wear them, because it really makes them look exactly alike. I really enjoyed this scene, since giving more context to a character's thoughts and feelings can create a better character, because you understand them that much better. The last scene that we're left with is Emilyko cleaning the window with a spot on it which isn't going away, so Kate suggests that it's probably on the outside. So Emilyko opens the window and sees another shadow in their living doll, to which she receives a death stare. So I would say that I thoroughly enjoyed this first episode as it lived up to my expectations and more, especially with the OP and ED fitting the aesthetic of the show so well. I really like the ED, it gives me Billie Eilish vibes, and I think that it fits so well with the series, especially as time progresses, it'll make more sense. The art for me was another strong point, especially since I really like the style and the color of the manga, so seeing them in motion is fire. Another element that makes the anime really great for me, at least so far, is the little quirkiness and life given to characters' actions, which helps elevate the anime even beyond the manga since you get to see it in motion. I hope that the anime continues to follow the manga, but it's only the first episode, so we shall see what they have in store. With that though, if you made it this far in the video, drop a like and subscribe for more content. If you have any questions, manga or anime recommendations, let me know in the comment section. I'll catch you in the next video. Deuces!